What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Hope you're ready because the PC semifinals are about to begin. We're starting it off with an unbelievable matchup between NRG Esports and Team Dignitas. I mean, doesn't get any better than that, except for maybe later today when we've got Obey up against Rival. I mean, the schedule for the rest of this event is going to be just phenomenal. Semifinals today, later on today as well, we've got that second semi, and then tomorrow, the PC finals, where the winner of this set and the winner of the later set will face off. Also got the console finals tomorrow morning. Don't forget about that. You get to see the European Rival up against Astral Authority. You guys have waited long enough, if you ask me. I think it's time to send it to the casters for the first PC semifinal.
Thanks a lot, Aggro. Appreciate it. My name's F. and that's going to be Taco, and this is going to be the start of the PC semifinals. Like Aggro said, this is Dig versus NRG. I mean, what else do you want? But how did they get here? This is day number 2 of our DreamHack Summer Finals, and Dignitas wound up beating Black Dragons to find themselves against NRG Esports.
And the same thing can be said for NRG in a gruesome set against Trifecta, managing to come out on top in that best of 3. I mean, NRG, you could tell they're feeling a little bit shaky after that one.
You know what? That's one of those sets that can go either way for the victor. If you guys missed out, basically, game number 1, Trifecta kind of stomped on them in a long game, and then game number 2, after an arduous match of being down for 50 minutes, 2 team fights win them the game, and then they just destroy game number 3. That either fills you up with confidence or kind of drains you. Dignitas, on the other hand, I think this one's a little bit easier. These guys are feeling good.
These guys have got to be feeling great with a really clean 2-0 victory yesterday, just kind of considering and solidifying that mindset of we are the best right now. You can tell that there's so much confidence in every single member of Dignitas.
You know, I mentioned it yesterday, and I think this is one of the truest statements I can say about the squad, is that coming into this split, this was the new team. Variety's new team is what they were affectionately called before Dig picked them up. And it was 4 superstars and Arkkyl, the kind of half-proven guy. We're here in the summer split. Arkkyl is just as much of a superstar as the rest of his team, and it's important because he's going head-to-head against one as well with emilitoo on NRG.
And we saw emilitoo kind of doing what seemed like the impossible. Every single person yesterday was asking, why the hell would you ever pick Neath? Yeah. And emilitoo showed you why. I mean, the mechanical prowess on this guy is absolutely insane. He is just all over the place, whether he needs to be aggressive, defensive, or just making the plays happen. That's just kind of what emilitoo does. NRG
has kind of shifted identities, if you ask me. Now, adapting will kind of always be adapting. But at one point in time, he was the guy. He was the main go-to. These days, I think it is more Yammyn and emilitoo that really drive this NRG team, whether you want to admit it or not. Whether it's a pick for emilitoo first or it winds up in the jungle. NRG Esports versus Team Dignitas. Picks and bans for game number 1 coming at you now.
And this is going to be a best of 5 set for these teams, so it's going to be quite a long one potentially, and both sides definitely looking to take the first hit.
Yeah, Dignitas will have the first ban, of course the first pick as well, as far as that's concerned. NRG will have the option of selecting 2 in the first round, so we'll see where that winds up. Dignitas will start out by banning the Chronos, a powerful character for NRG, playable both in the hands of emilitoo and Yammyn.
And when it gets to this kind of level against these 2 teams, I think the primary thing to consider is you're mostly looking for target bans at this level of play. Yeah. You're not necessarily considering what's the meta or what might be the best for a tier list potentially. You just want to take away what you know your opposition is going to play with best.
Dignitas actually, for virtually every single game this year, including the games yesterday at LAN, ban out Bologna and Circuit almost every time. Against NRG, all right, maybe not Circuit. We're more afraid of that Chronos. So they ban them out, and they take the soul away from again, and put it in the hands, of Zyhrhoes. And this has been a dominant god for Zyhrhoes throughout this year.
I have to respect the decision-making, though, from NRG. Eliminating that Morrigan and the Terra, you don't want to have to worry about that sustainability factor. And Morrigan, we saw what Zyhrhoes can do with her yesterday. I mean, you just don't, or what we've seen Zyhrhoes be able to perform on this morning, you just never really want to let him play it.
And this is pretty interesting because NRG's mid laner Yammyn actually has a pretty good Morrigan. That's what won them game number 2 in that Trifecta set, and arguably is what got them here to the semifinals. But NRG wanted to select the Osiris and the Nemesis, which means that would have given the option to Dignitas to pick the Morrigan in the first round, so a little bit of intricacy here. That's why we see the Morrigan banned out, despite the fact that NRG has a Morrigan player themselves. But tankiness on the side of Dig, Ravana and Wukong.
they're not necessarily all that deterred by that Nemesis selection from NRG.
Yeah.
And I think part of that is because one of those warriors is the Sun Wukong, having that ultimate escaping ability as well to really get away from the Nemesis ultimate kind of makes it so that you won't necessarily have to worry as much about getting shredded down.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to Sun Wukong, you're afraid of burst damage that's going to bring you to 0. Nemesis has burst damage, but it's not going to bring you to 0 because it's percent damage, so Sun Wukong can sort of get out of jail. Ravana, on the other hand, a little bit more of a problem for him, but with Dignitas playing as a unit, should be able to help out that warrior, again, likely in the jungle, although we did just literally see a jungle Sun Wukong last set, so you know what? Anything's possible. NRG with one more pick in the first half.
Qvofred's been playing it so many times already, though, throughout the summer split. I would kind of just expect that Ravana to go into his hands yet again, just because of how proficient he always performs on that Ravana, especially when you're pairing it alongside the Soul. That early lane pressure that they're able to establish from the mid lane side kind of just transcends over into the jungle, and that's really the emphasis that you need to place onto a team like NRG. You need to try and shut down adapting early.
Trying to figure out who NRG are picking for at the moment. That might be what they're trying to figure out as well. Yammyn running his mouth right here. He doesn't have a choice just yet, so it might be up to him. NRG do have one more selection before the round 2 of bans. They have 2 warriors, or, well, she used to be a warrior, so don't count me on that one. But Osiris solo, Nemesis jungle. So you get the mid, the hunter, and there's the mid. It's going to be the Vulcan for Yammyn.
The real decision-making factor here for NRG is they know that if they don't select a mid laner there for Yammyn in that instance, then they're going to have to be concerned about Dignitas just targeting, banning him even further. And when you're eliminating so many different options out of Yammyn, sure, he has a ton of mechanical talent, but it can only go so far when you're taken or eliminated off the table with so many comfort picks.
Yeah, it's interesting because NRG, I don't think Vulcan would be target banned here versus NRG in the minds of Dig. Seeing the Vulcan ban here, I think it speaks more to the type of gameplay that they want to go to rather than specific selection. Nemesis, Vulcan, they're going to blow somebody up. Right now for NRG, they're looking for that burst composition.
I respect the choice to eliminate that Neath, though. This isn't necessarily a god that we're accustomed to seeing being banned out in even the first or second picks and ban stage. It's just the concern of whether this could also potentially be an ADC Vulcan for Emil. There's always that possibility to consider, although I wouldn't necessarily anticipate it, but just the fact that they don't want to allow NRG to have a utility-based god such as that Neath in the hands of Emil.
Yeah, I love how what NRG did with their bans as well. Nemesis and Vulcan is telling us that NRG want to go for a burst composition. So you ban out the Geb because of the Geb shield is going to basically put a monkey wrench in that plan. The Fafnir, well, that's just Trixtank Scott, so get rid of that one as well. The Neath, more setup for Nemesis and Vulcan. Fantastic ban selection coming out from both teams here. Dignitas finish up their draft with their dual lane in Sobek and Rama.
And Arkkyl, again, trying to just flex as much as possible with this Ram pickup. I mean, it's not necessarily a god that you would ideally want to have against Hou Yi in the early laning stage, but we've seen what Arkkyl can do, and these snipes from him have been so on point.
Ganesh will be the support of choice in the hands of iRaffer for NRG, the defending world champions who, as I say defending world champions, that doesn't necessarily mean they're the favorite here, Taco. I think a lot of people at home think Dignitas might be the top card.
I think most people are probably favoring Dignitas, but NRG, I think they're going to keep Dignitas on their toes, especially throughout this early to mid-game stage, because when you look at that draft from NRG, Vulcan, Hou Yi, Ganesh, 3 gods that are pretty much excellent at shredding the objectives. I would not be surprised if NRG try to hover a little bit more and push so much pressure onto those mid and dueling sides.
Again, going back to that ban of Fafnir, taking it out of the hands of Dignitas, that's a fantastic ability to shred objectives as well. So NRG, that's their plan. They want to make sure that Dignitas can't do that on their side. So NRG have a couple of options there. And of course, the Nemesis Vulcan, as I said before, they just want to blow people up, Taco. This isn't a slow and steady game. I think NRG, 10 minutes, kind of get quiet, and then all of a sudden we're going to see a lot of action.
But they have a little bit of everything on the side of Dignitas. When you've got the Soul on the Ravana, there's your early clear potential. Sun Wukong, sure, he's not going to have the greatest laning phase if it is him in the Soul lane facing off against that Osiris, but he's still relatively safe. He'll be able to avoid those ganks from adapting.
NRG and Dignitas getting right into the game. Give it up for your 2 European squads trying to find their way into the finals here at DreamHack Valencia. Like Taco mentioned before, this will be a best of 5, so strap in, buckle up. We're here for a ride.
I think it might be a bumpy one at that between these two squads. I mean, already the game paused by 0, so a little bit of an issue that players are trying to sort out down there on the stage.
Yeah, most likely a technical issue. We'll take a look in just a moment. You can see Zyhrhoes looking over there at Qvofred, so probably an issue with the jungler's computer. Trixtank and Arkkyl just kind of look lost there on the other side. But adapting, you can see, is locked in. Like we said yesterday, after a set like that, Taco, I mean, you are a high-level player. This one, I've seen players go both ways. It's really up to the individual how you feel after a draining set like yesterday's Trifecta Energy.
I think it's the fact, though, that NRG had a set like that against a North American team, and we kind of just saw the way that the other remaining North American teams were pretty much dismantled by the other opposing factors of EU. So for NRG, it's a little disconcerting because they have that feeling kind of just sitting in the bottom of their stomachs where we nearly lost a best of 3 to NA, and this is a region that has really been struggling as of late.
Yeah, so Energy here, I mean, well, do they have the energy? No pun intended. IRaffer and Yammyn. iRaffer kind of always looks tired, so I don't think that's accurate, but Yammyn looks a little bit locked in, so. One more time, team we're back in game. So maybe we can actually get this one going. Variety there on the right-hand side with the Monkey King. This is, I love this character in the hands of Variety. Listen, he's not a hyper carry. He's not going to come out and just run the game, but he's going to be able to rotate earlier than some of the other characters out of that solo lane, and he makes a really big impact just kind of by being annoying, and Variety's really good at disruption himself, so.
Energy win the game. Yammyn got the first hit.
Yep, that's how it works.
Every single time, but it is actually going to be Team Dignitas getting a little bit of the better end of the clear, but that's kind of just expected between a Soul and a Robin.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. You're kind of expecting this one to go that way. Zyhrhoes and Qvofred, fantastic push, and they're going to push their way into the enemy's jungle. Qvofred will sniff out the speed buff. Meanwhile, left side, iRaffer defending his own jungle against the likes of Trixtank and Arkkyl, bringing down Trixtank a little bit low. Sickening Strike will heal up the Sobek, however, and claim a little bit of experience.
Arkkyl was already level 2 there. Kind of surprised that Dignitas opted to just back off, considering that they could have potentially pressured a little bit further, but they did already steal away the red buff from NRG, so that's a pretty big win within itself.
Yeah, that's a very big win. Trixtank on the Sobek with the red buff. Maybe it's less of a win than I have really mentioned, but at the end of the day, Sobek can provide a little bit of power, so and it's more about the experience and the gold. Jokes aside when it comes to that camp. Right side, however, invade one more time onto Team Dignitas' blue buff. Adapting wants to take the fight along with Dimi, but he might have bit off more than he could chew, so he dashes away, leaving Dimi by his lonesome.
We've seen this before, though. It's going to be the bracer from Qvo, and I mean, I'm kind of surprised, to be honest, that there wasn't a little bit more follow-up from Variety. I think that he didn't have the opportunity to really utilize that 72 transformations again against adapting.
Yeah, it's not quite yet. I think a couple more levels, a little bit more longer in the game, and we'll see a little bit more of power coming out of those characters. But right now, just 2 minutes in the game, probably needs a little bit more time in the oven.
Emilitoo kind of just making that rotation with iRaffer, helping Yammyn secure those left-hand mid harpies, and now you can kind of see Dignitas trying to poke their heads again into the jungle of NRG, probably recognizing that Yammyn's right there waiting for them, though.
iRaffer with the smart silence, going to stop Trixtank from being able to find him with the pluck. iRaffer thinking about taking the dangerous way, waiting for the wave. You see iRaffer comes along and waits for those minions. And that's how he's going to be a little bit safer. Variety down to about quarter of HP. Dimi taking it right to him. Able to maintain in this lane because of that death toll.
Variety has a slight experience lead because of that initial little push from Qvo, but against an Osiris, it doesn't make too much of a difference early game.
Uh-oh. Arkyl's in trouble, pops the beads early. There's the ultimate out of iRaffer. And the beads preventing the stun from emilitoo will save the life of Arkkyl here. Level 4, but the beads are down now, Taco, and that's a really big deal. Energy definitely writing that one down in the notebook. Arkkyl rolling forward, but not going to find the hit. 3 players on the left side for Team Dig. Energy backing off.
with Qvofred making that rotation over to the dual lane side. You could tell Arkkyl really wanted to get that cripple onto the Ganehsa just to prevent that dash from iRaffer, but unfortunately unable to connect. So both sides on, I guess both teams kind of just need to disperse after that one.
Yeah, I mean, there's just nothing to do. You know, you got to watch out for that a little bit. So very early in this game, we should see our jungle buffs respawning just a little bit, at least on the left top side. Adapting knocked up as he finds himself on the right side of the map, which means he won't be able to defend on the left side of the map. And the second invade coming out from Team Dignitas into NRG's jungle, successful. And you want to know why? Hand of the gods, Arkkyl in trouble from a distance. Yammyn with the kill. First blood for NRG from all the way across the map.
But it's not gonna make a difference because Zyhrhoes returning the favor onto Emil, cleaning up Hunter for Hunter, and the fight's not over just yet. Adapting, still trying to get more, but the Stellar Burst and the ultimate from the Soul is going to be enough. Both teams just gonna call it a draw at that one.
That's the dream ultimate out of the Vulcan player. Very rarely do you see that type of accuracy. I mean, he hit him in the bullseye right there, right in the middle. Love to see it. Yammyn starts it off hot at 4 minutes. Team Dignitas do wind up answering back, so not too much loss there. In fact, it's virtually tied despite the 500 gold bounty for first blood. Essentially, Team Dignitas found themselves with a little bit of lead because of the repeated invades on the left side jungle. NRG answer back with the first blood, and here we are.
That double bounce ricochet, though, in the Gold Fury pit, I mean, it's already pretty spicy, and we've seen what Emil can do with this Hou Yi. If that's not a warning shot to Arkkyl, that he can't really afford to have his back against the wall, I don't know what is.
I mean, Arkkyl knows those shots. These are two of the stronger hunters, not just in Europe, but also the world, so obviously got to keep an eye on that one. Just like Funball, I think he knows the angles.
We'd have to hope so with how much these guys tend to play these hunters, but it is going to be not too much of a level disparity for Arkkyl, fortunately enough, considering that was actually a really big cleanup by Dignitas, returning the kill onto Emil because it ensures that Arkkyl doesn't fall super far behind as far as experience and gold is concerned.
Raffer and Trixtank just sort of slapping each other on the left side of mid lane after those mid harpies go down. And you know, right here, Taco, Zyhrhoes, Trixtank, Arkkyl, these three, though not together at the moment, these three I think really can leverage some fights over by the Gold Fury. So Team Dignitas likely looking for a pick here if it presents itself. See how forward Trixtank is playing? He wants this pick to open the door for the Gold Fury, but Raffer playing so smart, that's gonna be trouble for the Sobek. He gets hit by the Nemesis ult, and he gets hit by the Vulcan ult. Yammyn with 2 kills in total. Dimi in trouble, however, up and down, won't save the life.
Oh, he's gone. He's absolutely gone. Variety already with the solo lane kill. Talk about swinging it around.
I liked that play between both of these solo laners. Confidence abound. Dimi jumps on top, understanding he's gonna cut the healing of Variety. And if you kill the Sun Wukong before he gets to the cloud, he doesn't actually get the ultimate. Dimi took a gamble, rolled snake eyes. Variety comes out on top with the solo kill.
That's all that he was waiting for, too. You could just tell how much both of those solo laners really wanted it. And the fact that they're being left alone to kind of just go at it, that is the dream scenario for both of them.
Emilitoo gonna be caught out in the jungle. Nice stun in the double tap. There's gonna be Trixtank, pluck into the flip. And that might be it. Here comes Raffer to assist. Emilitoo not shying away from the fight.
I know somebody who did shy away from it, though, was Arkkyl, not really wanting to take any chances with that Ganehsa. The Dharmic Pillars and just the Ganehsa abilities alone can do so much damage.
Qvofred's here. It's 1v4. He jumps in anyway. There's the jump away from Emilitoo. Qvofred still going deep. Shots from the sky, 2 hit. But Emilitoo will be able to walk away. No problemo there for our Hunter.
Luckily for him, he was able to get out of range, recognizing which direction Arkkyl was coming from, and immediately shoving towards the furthest right-hand side of that wall.
Trixtank trying to chase, adapting down around the corner. Not gonna happen. Double dash is good.
It happens sometimes. I mean, you just look for it. That's what you've got to do on the Sobek.
And I mean, NRG just looking for it. Qvofred reads the ultimate out of the Vulcan and flip kicks it. I like that shot. Not every Vulcan ult needs to wind up in a kill.
Sometimes it's just nice to keep your opposition wary. I mean, none of the buffs are really all that safe for Dignitas just because it's very common for Vulcans to just shoot their ultimate as often as possible just to really either knock out somebody to potentially look for the follow-up kill or just steal the buff away.
That's the key. I mean, if Yammyn fires his ult and he gets the speed buff, oh, fantastic, good job. Qvofred doesn't get it anymore, but not going to be the case, and it's not going to be the case on the left side with respect to the Oracles either. Neither team gets them, so no vision for either team, Dignitas or NRG Esports.
And all around, pretty safe trades. Adapting those, probably going to have to put a little bit more emphasis into the solo lane side, and that's probably one of the bigger repercussions of Variety finding the solo kill onto Dimi. It's that it's pretty much Dimi having to acknowledge the fact that Variety has the upper hand. Adapting is probably going to need to gank, and if Adapting's ganking that solo lane side, then that just opens up the map pressure for Dignitas in the mid and dual lane.
Purple buff secured by Trixtank. This one won't be red this time. And he's going to head back to base, leaving Arkkyl alone on the left side of the map. Dimi gets hit by the stun out of Variety, just pestering him. Obviously no kill potential just yet.
That's kind of what some Wukong is best at doing, though. Once you hit, especially this level 10 stage, and you start hitting double digits, you can afford to take up these chases. And speaking of affording to take up a chase, Adapting, playing a little bit close there.
Yeah, just going for it. Neutral camp's still very important. Just shy of 10 minutes here, so Fire Giant about to wake up. Team Dignitas and NRG in game number 1 of their 5-game set, virtually tied. About 500 gold or less separates these two teams, so not much to talk about in way of a lead. And I like the way this one's gone back and forth so far, Taco. NRG's able to pick up first blood. Team Dignitas immediately answer back. NRG get a kill in a team fight across the map. Dignitas immediately answer back by way of a solo kill out of Variety. So whether it's team fights or not, these teams are going back and forth. I love it.
I mean, that's kind of just what you expect from two powerful oppositions. And speaking of which, Yammyn, but iRaffer with a perfect silence.
Wonderful play here. Trixtank not in any amount of trouble. Look how Dignitas and NRG's jungle both collapsed here in the middle lane, expecting there to be a rumble, but nobody really takes the bait. Meanwhile, two hunters thought about rotating, instead head back to lane, and no problem.
Zyhrhoes just couldn't find the follow-up, and that's going to be the primary issue with this Ganehsa, I believe. It's just finding that moment of opportunity where a silence isn't going to negate all your pressure.
Look at the damage that Yammyn dishes out, but look at the damage that Yammyn's taking. Qvofred trying to fight him down. There's Zyhrhoes. Defensive ultimate out of the mid lane, but Qvofred puts him down. Number 3 for Team Dig.
And that was the perfect opportunity, but now it's going to be NRG trying to make something happen on that speed buff. Trix able to one out of danger.
Mid lane's in trouble. Zyhrhoes just barely gets out of there. Dimi couldn't find the kill. Roll forward is Arkkyl. One more shot will do it. Can't get to the sky. emilitoo puts him in the ground.
And that is the fear that a Ram has against the Hou Yi in the early laning stage. He is so much of a lane advantage, and especially Emil, he's taking complete control of this duo.
Yeah, I mean, this is the first step, right? These players are going to go and continue. And usually when you see these hunters take the battle back and forth, he who finds the first kill is the one who finds the second kill and the third kill.
And Variety trying not to be the 4th kill so far, forced up into the cloud by everybody on NRG. And I mean, he's playing a little bit close.
Yeah.
The last couple of times that we've hovered over to him in that solo lane side, he's just been low on mana, low on health, but still refusing to back out of this lane.
You know what? Low on Matt. Efficient is the word I'll use. He's just testing the boundaries. He knows the limits of the character, jokes aside. I mean, he knows how much damage you can take, and that's why we're seeing him play it so fast and loose. And again, killed answer by kill, 3-3. Just back and forth in this one.
It's still just going to be such a tight race between these two teams, considering that all across the board, it's relatively even, other than that a little bit of a goal lead in favor of Dignitas.
At the moment, here comes Trixtank looking for something, but again, a nice silence and iRaffer. Qvofred and Zyhrhoes will join their support. Now I'm just going to clear the wave out.
It's pretty much the same thing all around. These teams, they had their little mini brawls, but you can just tell how calculated every single one of these fights are, and already Trixtank looks like he might have gone to the wrong neighborhood. Everybody from NRG is trying to lock down the croc.
Ultimate on the Sobek. There's a shot from Yammyn, just barely getting out of there as Trixtank. He's going to head to base on his own terms, adapting dodges, 2 out of 3 shots out of Arkkyl's Rama ultimate, so no big deal. Nice play by Trixtank on the Sobek, just to wiggle out of the damage there, using the ultimate to make sure he's not CC'd, and then just understanding exactly where Yammyn's going to shoot his shot, making sure to get out of the danger zone.
Arkkyl getting a little bit lucky there. That area wasn't warded. He had no idea that Emil was waiting right behind the corner. If that triple bounce ricochet had connected, that would have been his entire health.
Yeah, Arkkyl, sometimes you got to take those chances, right? So Arkkyl making sure to do so, although I would like to see some vision on the left side that comes in a blue variety. At the moment, it's kind of all red. 3 players from NRG will group up, and I think they'll finally get a red buff.
I mean, it's relatively easy after an engagement like that. Everybody kind of just, it's these random spurts of aggression, but I shouldn't really say random. It's more so going back to what I was initially leading into. With this planned aggression, they're really just trying to fight around these jungle corridors because they really want an area that the Dharmic pillars are just going to be able to slow the most to really allow NRG to catch somebody with that Yammyn ultimate.
That's the key. I mean, if you put down the Ganehsa ultimate in the middle of the lane, you can kind of walk around it. Variety getting handled by Dimi here on the right side at the moment. But if you put the pillars down in the middle of the jungle, well, there's only one way out, and you're likely to get hit not just once, but twice by 2 of those beams.
And I think there could be a little bit of a skirmish over these oracles. iRaffer and emilitoo are waiting right around the corner. Looks like Dignitas might be able to pick them up.
Yammyn lurking as well with the ultimate in hand, so waiting for it. There's the ultimate out of emilitoo, defensively more than anything, alongside the pillars. And nice shots out of Arkkyl, not enough to kill, however. So emilitoo, undeterred, will pick up some farm from the back camp and head back to base.
Arkkyl kind of for a second tempted to pull this goal fury. They want to pull the fight knowing that Hou Yi had to back to base. That's an excellent time to try and pressure a power play advantage. However, there's just not enough damage quite yet for Dignitas. They don't want to risk it.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the frustrating moments in time where, yes, we have an advantage. Can't do anything with it. We know he's back at base, but just too much presence on the left side of the map coming out from NRG Esports or even without their Hunter.
And I think all around Dignitas, again, putting a little bit of pressure onto Dimi, adapting, you can just tell that he's lurking, ready to go with this ultimate.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen him use it a couple of times now. Not all of them have resulted in a kill. Variety pushing up a little bit high, but he does have his jungle in tow, so Qvofred able to sort of play some sort of defense. Just back to the farm. 16 minutes here on the clock. Kills tied up, as well as the gold virtually. Just about a 500-600 gold lead, excuse me, for Team Dignitas. So for all intents and purposes here, everything even.
I'd imagine this to be a little bit of a longer one, considering just how well both of these teams are doing as far as picking out the fights that they want to take.
Yeah, I mean, very, I think, calculated is the term that we would use. Nobody really taking a fight that doesn't absolutely matter. One of the big things here, folks, is that when you fight, you want to get rewarded for it. You want to be able to take the opposition down and look for an objective. If there's no objective available, or you don't have the tools or the means to do so, then there's just no reason to fight. So both Team Dig and NRG trying to sort of bait the other one into starting a fight that they don't want to take.
One pick is really all it's going to take, and as long as the other team still has the surviving members in comparison to whoever gets picked off, I see zero hesitation between either squad as far as locking down the portal team. And even now, this is what we expect to see with the Vulcan, just these little poke potentials, seeing what they can potentially get away with.
But as soon as Variety and Zyhrhoes show their fates, we see the back off, no hard commit to the portal demon whatsoever. So again, back to the laning phase.
Turret still swinging away happily, though. One of the fun parts about it's always fun whenever you see the Vulcan turret kind of just swinging away at an objective.
Just by itself.
Yeah, just nobody around. We've seen one go before for like minutes. It was a long time ago, though. I don't remember which team it was, but somebody left their Vulcan turret for like a year on the goal fury.
Literally, I'm sure. emilitoo in trouble here. Literally, at the moment, there's Aegis, still half HP. Sun's come down, Qvofred giving chase. One hair is left, and Arkkyl takes him out right from the sky, number 4 for Team Dignitas.
And that's one of the downhill factors for Hou Yi. He does not have that CC immune ultimate, and there it is. You get a pick onto the Hunter, and emilitoo had to use his ultimate. Variety immediately swings across town because he wanted to help his team secure that goal fury.
Trixtank kind of getting hit. Nice shot by NRG. iRaffer actually really nailed the location of the ultimate. Portal Demon goes to NRG this time around, so one for you, one for me. NRG, like I said, NRG support really nailed the location of that ultimate if he wanted to steal the Gold Fury away, but Team Dignitas one step better, taking down the Gold Fury and earning themselves the first real lead in this game, just under, or just about actually, 2,000 gold for the black and yellow.
Yeah, that immediate Portal Demon response by NRG isn't necessarily to help with any gold lead closing the gap of that. They really just want to make sure that Dignitas don't have a secondary objective to their name. They want to be the ones that have that map pressure and the possible ganking potential into that mid and solo lane side.
So Team Dignitas here with a little bit of a lead. Now they might be able to leverage that and go somewhere. You can see there was an experience lead in the way of NRG Esports, but very quickly after that exchange, Team Dig kind of even up the score there and then take the lead by way of gold. So, Taco, what do you think the next move is here for Team Dig?
I wouldn't be surprised to see Qvo keep trying to assist Arkkyl because Hou Yi doesn't have a CC immune ult. emilitoo has to rely entirely on his actives if he really wants to escape from this Ravana, and that can make life incredibly difficult for the Hunter. And if Dignitas keeps securing the kill onto him, it's gonna trickle down into the team fights as well.
And that's gonna be problematic as the game goes on. Now, an interesting point here is that so far, every kill has been answered back with a counter kill. Team Dignitas' last, however, has not been answered back. So because of that, they find themselves up not just the gold, but also the kill.
Arkkyl not wanting to take any chances. He could have potentially secured that T1 tower, but it would have meant the cost of his own life, I believe. The way that they're all rotating.
Wrap around.
Zyhrhoes.
There's the ultimate. Zyhrhoes just gone very, very quickly. Adactive cuts him down with the ultimate and then bang. Before he even gets a chance to walk through the dark pillars, winds up falling to the wayside. That's going to be the first death for Zyhrhoes on this soul. He's got a kill and an assist as well, making him 1-1-1. Right side, Dimi, well, wins the lane, right? Gets the tower first. 500 gold for his team.
That is so unfortunate for Zyhrhoes because he didn't pop his Aegis, probably thinking his Disaparate would be enough to get him out of danger. That burst damage from adapting was just too insane.
Again, a tier 1 tower for NRG Esports. So Team Dignitas able to claim a life above the opposition and then go ahead and claim the gold lead, but NRG biting back. 500 on one side, 500 in the mid. It's gonna be 1,000 up, obviously. And now they cut the lead to about 1,200, 1,600 wave to wave.
It's really just the kill response that you were looking out for, though,
yeah.
To see what exactly would be NRG's next motive. As soon as they recognized that they weren't going to be able to pick up a kill in that dual lane side underneath the T1 tower because of the lack of commit, they immediately collapsed onto Zyhrhoes. And so it's just that efficiency in this squad, and that's where you can tell that the veteran experience starts to come into play.
Still trying to find their real footing. Team Dignitas is up, but as I said, pretty much just 1,500 gold, which in the grand scheme of things is not really that much, but it could be the beginning of something. 1,500 gold, a couple extra wards, maybe you place them offensively. You look for those couple of invades because you have a little bit more confidence. Certainly a real thing.
It's the lead where you kind of just be sleeping with one eye open.
Yeah.
You know that you have a little bit of an advantage that you can kind of pressure into, but at the same time, you never really want to overcommit just yet because while the damage might be there, you know that you never really want to poke a bull for too long.
Not at all. Both of these teams wind up, I think, could be compared to a bull. They're both rather aggressive and have a tendency to sort of explode, which is sort of what I'm waiting for. 22 minutes here, and I'm waiting for that big moment, Taco. Both Team Dig and NRG like this sort of sudden explosion of action. And right about now is when we usually get to see it.
I think it'll come off of a pluck by Trixtank. He's really been looking to try and make it happen, but iRaffer's been there waiting as well with silence on this Ganesh. I wouldn't be surprised if they wait for Trix to go in and then just all in on top of him.
Well, Gold Fury about to spawn here in just a matter of moments, so the fight could be around that objective. You can see Ravana pushing up, but gets looked at by iRaffer and he'll push back.
And Variety, considering that he lost his T1 towers, spending a little bit more time in that solo lane side than Dimi.
I mean, Dimi has the luxury of rotating nice and early. Variety can't push up that far without the safety of the tower, so that's why we see him sort of waiting, playing second fiddle here. 4 players in NRG jerseys in Team Dignitas' jungle. Trixtank and Qvofred gonna be zoned away from their buff. And the speed buff looks like it's gonna go the way of NRG Esports, and it won't. Adapting's able to snatch it back. There's the ultimate. The Diamond Pillars come down thanks to iRaffer. A little bit of a nice backstep out of Yammyn, and that be that.
That slows really all that energy needed to get out. And I mean, it was just beautifully executed by them. They get in, take what they were looking for, and then immediately just run away.
At the moment, Gold Fury gonna be started by NRG. Likely look for the fight here. Nice bounce. Trixtank walking away, scurrying away, I guess. Using the charge prey, but no kill, no action, no fight.
I mean, I don't think that either of these teams are really looking
Look
to
at adapting
until somebody's out of position, and Trixtank and adapting both kind of had the same thought process.
Yeah, they wanted to jump in that mid lane. Adapting instead takes the safe route and just goes ahead and picks up a speed buff.
I mean, that's basically what they just need to be doing. Oracle Vision is going to go in favor of Team Dignitas, and now the commit could possibly be coming through.
Yeah, it looks like more of a commit than we saw out of NRG a moment ago, but still not a full commit. Objective brought down to half HP and then leashed out. Dimi comes around from the backside, looking for Arkkyl, chipping away 50%, and beads are chased out. There's the flip out of Dimi, looking more for anyone he can get his sights on. Pops the thorns, there's a nice flip out of Trixtank, but it's iRaffer. So that support pretty tanky. Low, there's the ultimate, and it slows. That's about it. Adapting, not in trouble either. Just a lot of ults for kind of nothing.
He could potentially be in trouble now, though. Trixtank and everybody from Dignitas is actually on the offensive, looking to try and lock iRaffer down. Still gets out.
Variety going for it. He gets silenced out of the animals, gets him with the Master's Will, but look how deep he is. Qvofred showing up to try and help. Actually dodges the nonsense out of Dimi. Variety goes deep, and it pays off, taking down the support. 30 seconds left before iRaffer joins the fray.
But they still don't have that Gold Fury opportunity. They know that Yammyn still has his ultimate available. They know that emilitoo still has his as well. So really, that's kind of just a lot of commit from Dignitas, but not really able to punish any further for that 4v5, just because of how poked out everybody was on Dig, too.
Still the same lead for Dig as well, though, 1,500, give or take. So nothing too exciting out of Dig. No dominant team wipes, or like we said, objectives. The Gold Fury is still there. No hunter really does. No hunter, excuse me, has the lifesteal that we really need to see in order for them to be able to solo the Gold Fury. So because of that, it's just going to be team-wide events.
I'm actually kind of surprised that fight didn't go more in favor of NRG, simply because of the fact that Dimi poked out Arkkyl to about half HP threshold, and then he did the same exact thing to Zyhrhoes, popping the thorns and chasing him down, so both of the attack damage carries were pretty poked out.
There's going to be trouble for iRaffer. He's controlled. Arkkyl gets the kill. iRaffer does drop the ultimate, but doesn't look like it's going to have too big of an impact. Dimi uses his own ult to jump over the wall. Qvofred casually giving chase, but not really looking for it. There's the double dash down south coming out from adapting. Chase down, turned around, looking for Arkkyl, takes to the sky. One shot's good, there's the immune. 3 shots good, not enough to take him down. The hunter walks away.
They were still able to force out his ultimate, but meanwhile, NRG are locking down the Gold Fury. Sure, Dignitas are gonna get the fire
play,
but at what expense? And actually, it's actually just a full Fire Giant commit.
This is kind of spicy. Team Dignitas looking for the Fire Giant here. Dimi trying to put something in that situation, but it does go to Dignitas. Dimi falls down. Arkkyl and his team play the smart play. NRG make the push on the left side. The objective, the much larger objective, goes to Team Dignitas.
Just when you think that was entirely in favor of Dignitas, though, Emil able to steal it away with the Suns, and that is what you have to keep an eye out for with this Hou Yi. Beautiful steal by emilitoo, but either way, that Fire Giant going in favor of Dignitas is really going to start opening up this map pressure.
Exactly. When you have Zyhrhoes on this soul, you combine that with the Fire Giant buff, she's destroying the towers. Obviously, Arkkyl going to do a similar thing, so that's very, very scary if you're in the seats of NRG. You got to understand that these characters are going to come through and just be able to shred the towers.
And it's really just so unfortunate because it just looked like Team Dignitas was completely out of position. You wouldn't really expect them to try and commit onto the Fire Giant right there, but they completely took advantage of that opportunity.
Variety and Qvo pushing up on the right side. Everybody on the mid lane situation. Right side tower goes down, 1,500 gold for the tier 2.
Now Trix kind of just making himself known in that mid lane. A lot of ward coverage, though, for NRG. I don't think that they want to give up these T2s all that easily. It's still a close enough game to where they can choose to fight into this Fire Giant team. They have to be incredibly safe, though, with their engage.
And Team Dignitas want to be anything but playing a little dangerous. There's to push forward. Trixtank and Variety both sort of leading the way. Nice knock up. Not going to be enough. Variety hit just a little bit of poke. NRG not committing. Neither is Team Dignitas. Looking for one entrance are both teams.
And now with the wave coming in for Dignitas, this is the moment they've kind of been waiting for, but just as quickly as it came, it's gone. I don't think they're gonna have a creep wave if they want to try and push into these T2 towers. They're just gonna need to spread out the likes of NRG, really put a little bit of presence in both the mid and dual lane side if they want any hopes of locking down these remaining T2 towers.
Yeah, I agree. I think we need to see a little bit more of the spread across the map. Team Dignitas group number 3 in the left side jungle, in the right. Only 2, but they're all gonna funnel up towards the mid lane. Nice silence and iRaffer, stopping the pluck just at the right spot. Otherwise, we would have seen a player lifted up and almost tossed a certain doom. Left side tower gonna be focused on, but it's gonna be turned around and look for the player in the jungle.
You can just use that silence, but it doesn't matter. Adapt, use the purification beads, and Qvo is completely committing.
There's the Aegis, adapting saves his life just for the moment. Qvo gets him out. That's number 8. Still not done yet. Down goes Zyhrhoes, answered back by NRG. That's a 1-for-1 so far. Arkkyl could go down. The roll is silenced out. Arkkyl needs 2 shots. It's emilitoo again. A 2-for-1. NRG on the good side.
Everybody ran to Zyhrhoes' aid, but nobody was helping out Arkkyl. He gets pincered between iRaffer and emilitoo, and when your ADC is left all alone, he can only deal so much damage to one of them.
Yeah, I mean, just what are you gonna do there? Just problematic situation. As I said, NRG on the good side. They've got 3 players pushing up with Osiris in the wings as he had to go back to base. NRG are gonna look to force this mid-tier 2 tower.
And this is why Dignitas is being so cautious, trying to pressure into NRG's T2, because they knew one misstep and the fight is going to completely go against us. And just like that, even with the Fire Giant in their favor, NRG actually locking down the T2 tower in the mid lane.
I like the way NRG did that. They waited for their healthy Dimi to come up, take the tower, to sort of be that frontline presence they absolutely need. I think you might have been able to make that gamble. Maybe you can push forward with just a Ganesh. Better safe than sorry. NRG go ahead. But it's still Team Dignitas with that 2,000 gold lead.
Dimi has definitely been making plays this game. Despite having fallen early to Variety in that solo lane side, he's still had on-point rotations that have been coming up so clutch for his team, really just chasing down Zyhrhoes and not permitting him any breathing room. I mean, Zyhrhoes had to drop his ultimate in a method of defense, and even then, it didn't make a difference.
Not at all. Here in a half-hour play of our first game of what could be 5. And honestly, Taco, after watching game number 1, I don't think it's that much of a stretch to say that we might see 5 nice neck-and-neck plays. Both these teams so even.
Both these teams with so much to prove. I mean, neither side ready to call it quits just yet by any means. And you can tell in the gameplay alone that they are both hungry for this victory.
Dimi from the right side, looking for the wraparound, won't find it. iRaffer does silence players out. The knockup out of Yammyn won't be on the mark. There's the flip, looking for Trixtank. He's able to dash away, no problem. So not that big of a deal. NRG still looking to play aggressively. Has position for the Fire Giant and the Fire Portal.
Trixtank doesn't have his Stone of Gaia available anymore, though, which means he could potentially get CC'd, but Variety looking to jump in, and so is iRaffer thrown right into everybody on Dignitas.
Trixtank's in trouble, he goes down, so is Arkkyl. 2 kills for NRG right off the bat. Dimi chasing down Zyhrhoes, the mid laner, uses the Aegis after the abilities. There's Shield of the Underworld, AKA Thorns, my bad. Adapting's looking for trouble as well, his bad. He's got to back off. iRaffer very low. NRG get what they want, they get 2 kills. but they don't get as much as they want. But thanks to that Portal Demon Taco, they're able to come right on back and look for the fire.
iRaffer was thrown into 5 people, and instead 2 members of Dignitas die.
Yeah.
That is absolutely insane to me. It just really goes to show they are like a cobra poised to strike every time.
Free. Well, you know what? They paid in advance. Trixtank and Arkkyl with the kills that open up the opportunity. NRG get the Fire Giant, previously trailing. Now, nice and even. Marching up the mid lane. No, marching across the map. I think they're looking for the left tower.
I think they need that red buff. What's the main thing that every mid laner always goes for immediately? It's that red buff.
Yep. I mean, it's multiplicative damage. It's so important, especially when you're playing this, when you're playing a character like Vulcan, such a damage-oriented character. But the Gold Fury, absolutely the right call.
All jokes aside, it wasn't just the red buff.
Yeah.
They wanted to lock down that Gold Fury, and considering that they still have a T1 tower remaining in that dual lane side, the smart choice is to secure the freebie of the gold, put that little bit of pocket change away, and then lock down this remaining 2 towers.
Yeah, like I said, the left side towers, I think, really were on the menu for NRG. There was 2 of them. Take out the tier 1, no problem. A 500 gold plus the Gold Fury, and now we've got a lead change. It might be 8-8, but it's 2,100 gold in the lead for NRG Esports, the defending world champions, on track to at least look at game number 1.
And Variety, though, not really willing to let them get that free back.
Maybe he should have. It's a 4-on-2.
No, it's entirely to just keep delaying their packs, because the more time that he's able to buy means less time that NRG is going to have to push into these objectives. They still have 2 TT towers remaining on the map, so as long as he's preventing them from backing, they're not going to be able to buy.
Qvofred walking over a ward. All 5 members of Team Dignitas generally grouped up here on the right side, and NRG looking to do a similar action, but instead we'll see Yammyn split pushing on the left side while everybody else heads towards the mid.
But the respect that Dignitas paid to NRG when their initial push towards that T2 in the mid lane, I can expect Dignitas, or NRG, excuse me, to be doing the exact same thing. They know that they have the Fire Giant buff and a little bit of an advantage, but they still need to be very wary. They can definitely still get blown up by Dig.
I like the positioning here coming out from NRG. emilitoo and Yammyn waiting for their frontliners, adapting, thinking about wrapping around, but instead going directly for the tower. Down it goes, another 1,500 in the pockets of NRG Esports. Now the left side, Phoenix could be under threat here, Taco. NRG waiting for their opportunity, poised to jump in.
Zyhrhoes and the rest of the squad of Dignitas a little bit concerned now, because there's still that T2 on the right-hand side, but NRG, they want the Phoenix.
Yeah, it's a little bit of poke damage. Both left and mid Phoenix are exposed. Right side will have a tower go down first. Dimi brought down to half HP by the likes of Variety. He'll be able to heal that up thanks to the Fire Giant buff. But it won't be the left Phoenix, it looks like. NRG retreating into the jungle, not even looking for the mid Phoenix. Although Dimi might have a different plan than the rest of his squad. emilitoo certainly just full retreat.
Just look at the damage that Dimi is spamming, though.
It's that middle wave that we see the Hunter going for. emilitoo looking to clear out that wave while the rest of the team fights. Dignitas realize that they're without the Hunter. Here comes down help. Qvofred, Variety, half HP. Zyhrhoes in trouble, but it's Arkkyl to the sky. One shot's good. Adapting uses the Aegis, saves himself there. Variety's in trouble as well. Has to go to the sky himself. Right on top of Adapting. Qvofred gets his boots dirty and puts Adapting down.
But the mid Phoenix is still a threat for Dignitas. It's about to fall. They have a meal cleanup crew, and that's a big hit to Dignitas.
Yeah, NRG had to fight for it, though. Look at that. They lose their jungler. Granted, it was after the Nemesis ultimate, so he did his job. But Team Dignitas not going down without a fight. The first Phoenix falls. NRG up by 4K, but Digger fighting into this. In fact, Digger following NRG into the jungle. They have the numbers advantage. 5 players to NRG's 4. Fire Giant's down. Variety's just looking for the fight.
Variety just wants to see what he can get out of this squad of NRG, but I don't think he's going to be able to find anything except for a little bit of a tire stun onto Dimi. There's just not a whole lot of follow-up, though. Zyhrhoes and Arkkyl were still trailing a little bit too far behind to try and spam any damage into NRG.
I mean, this 4,000 gold lead is barely a lead. You can fight into it, no problem. Dignitas push NRG out so far that they have to walk into their lanes, which opens up the Portal Demon as a viable objective. Dimi teleports aggressively. The level 20 Osiris just kind of lurking on Team Dignitas' side of the map.
It's not really the goal lead or even the experience difference that I'm paying mind to. It's the fact that Dimi is by himself and there is 4 members of Team Dignitas surrounding him.
With that said, Osiris is tanky enough to wait for the rest of the squad. Arkkyl gets jumped on. Here comes Adapting Ultimate already used. Yammyn and emilitoo have theirs left. Dimi's Thorns are good. Dimi takes down Arkkyl. Up, down, Trixtank gets a kill as well. 1 for 1 on each side. Yammyn from a distance. Adapting helps him out. 2 dead on Team Dignitas, but again, the answer back by Qvofred. It's a 2 for 2.
And now it's going to be Qvo trying to lock down Yammyn on this Vulcan. He can only escape for so much longer, and it's basically just going to be one chop to the face. And just like that, it's been such an even trade all around. I mean, neither side really coming out on top of that one. Variety's still looking to play cleanup crew, but it could be...
bounce by emilitoo. I don't even care that he doesn't die. It just looks good.
It just looks good.
It just looks good, man.
And he found the crit after.
Oh, man.
The crit after that. I mean, he doesn't have it available, but it would have been pretty insane if he'd been able to look for it. I thought that Emil might have been building a crit item because I saw it in the fight, and then I realized it was adapting with the Wind Demon.
Very important here, though. We've been celebrating the back-and-forth nature of this game. And yes, it is about how talented these players are, but more importantly, the fact that these kills are going back and forth prevents the objective. Dignitas get 2 and NRG get 3, but neither team are strong enough to go ahead and look for the Fire Giant, which is up right now. That's what the teams are looking for here in our 40th minute of game number 1. Now, everybody respawning, coming out of the base, looking for the 5-on-5. Again, nice angle, emilitoo. But really, it's the 5-on-5 Fire Giant dance that both teams want to see.
And it's going to be Dignitas establishing the ward pressure and all the map vision that they would want. Arkkyl already pulling away at this Fire Giant. Both of these teams have a ton of burst potential if they want to commit. Yeah,
look around for the backside. There's Adapting looking for the flank. Fire Giant still pummeling players. It's going to finally be leashed. But Adapting has his vision. There's the ultimate on the Zyhrhoes. That's the target, but Adapting's by himself. Dimi comes over the wall. Zyhrhoes in trouble. No, he's gone. Dimi gets credit. Backwards goes Adapting. There's a chase. Qvofred answers back. It's 1 down, 1 down. Still looking for more. Yammyn takes down the Hunter. 2 dead on the side of Team Dignitas.
This is battle of the frontliners right now, and it seems as though NRG is about to get the farewell.
Yammyn!
Yammyn just cleans up Qvofred with the meatball from downtown, and man, that is a free Fire Giant if I've ever seen
that. That could be the game-turning team fight there. We were neck and neck, just 3,000 gold separate these 2 teams. Variety with a really big teleport. iRaffer is zoning him out, but he's very low. There's the shot. NRG confirmed the Fire Giant. And like I said, that meatball out of Yammyn, that might have won the game.
It's just so clean from NRG. The commit and the way that they just target focus is absolutely on point. Zyhrhoes cannot escape from Adapting. He cannot escape from Dimi. And because of that, Team Dignitas keeps losing all of these fights. Once they lose Zyhrhoes, then they don't have that secondary burst damage potential to aid Arkkyl, and that just makes their carries too much of an open avenue to really punish.
It's the full commit onto the soul, and it's not just the mentality, Taco. It's the thought process, but also the itemization. The crit Nemesis that has become an Adapting special here. Your soul is so slippery. She's got the abilities in her kit. She's got not just the beads, but also the ages. You're looking for the crits. You're looking for the damage out of Yammyn. Not only does he have the ethereal staff, which is going to chunk you down sort of like a magical chins, but also the soul reaver, where it's going to just chunk you for huge percentages of damage. So you're just looking, get the soul before she can get away. And so many times that's been effective, stopping Zyhrhoes in his tracks, and NRG just making sure to take down this mid laner, opening up the door for the objective, and then hopefully for NRG and their fans, opening up the door to the Titan.
And plus, the two members that have some of the best spamming abilities for this match are the ones with the anti-heal items, which have been coming up pretty huge for NRG as well, just preventing Dignitas from having any sort of sustain, Zyhrhoes in particular, and now they're knocking on the front door yet again. They want that middle Phoenix.
This is a much different story, though. Last time when we looked at these players targeting the Phoenix, I think it was a little bit more even. Here, NRG kind of have their foot up a little bit higher, though the gold stays the same. The Fire Giant and the momentum a little bit different. emilitoo forced to jump out on the backside. Trixtank finds the tail whip, but doesn't really find much of it. Half HP already on the Phoenix since it has respawned. Variety just trying to stay, keeping everybody outside.
Same thing for Qvofred, trying to help out Trixtank on the side routes here. They really do not want to take up this fight underneath their Phoenix because they know that Emil will just shred it instantly.
Zyhrhoes trying to build up that passive. Emil avoiding some of the CC. Dimi brought down to half HP. Although Variety, Dignitas' front line as well. There's the Sun, there's the ultimate out of the Hunter. Everybody's going to engage. Yammyn from a distance. We'll see you later. Arkkyl takes down one shot. And Yammyn again is the catalyst that NRG need. The mid Phoenix goes down. NRG shift to the left side, easily taking this objective.
There's no way that Dignitas are able to hold up this secondary Phoenix. They're trying to put up as much of a defense as possible, but it's not going to make a difference. Dimi just taking everybody's abilities.
One basic is all it needed. Dimi on the Broken God, very, very hard to kill. Add the Thorns on the fact you don't even want to try to kill him. Mid Phoenix, toast. Left Phoenix, same situation. NRG back. They're going to look to regroup, buy, and head in one more time. I say buy. No items necessarily, but perhaps some power potions, just a little bit more oomph. Take Team Dignitas looking for game number 1.
And Emil actually picking up the 3K defense pot, trying to allow as much of a surviving option as possible for himself. That just goes to show that these teams aren't necessarily prioritizing the damage. They're prioritizing the surviving route, because if NRG is able to stay alive, if they're able to find that one pick, is all that it takes. They lost 2 Phoenixes for one guy dying.
Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, you've got the crit out of the Nemesis, and you've got some of the items on Yammyn that are just going to make the already burst damage heavy Vulcan just more burst. When you're looking at emilitoo here, his job is sustained DPS. The itemization that he has, the chin size, and the oboe, these items are going to allow him to just continuously, slowly tick down the other players. Zyhrhoes, blow him up in an instant. But Variety and Qvofred, slow burn those tanks. That's emilitoo's job. I love how NRG have sort of divided their powers, delegated different targets to different units.
This is such an even spread across both teams, and realistically, Dignitas could still turn this around, even being down 2 Phoenixes. It's going to be NRG securing that Portal Demon yet again this game. Trixtank already costed his Stone of Gaia, but he forces out the Purification Beast from emilitoo.
iRaffer drops the ultimate. Yammyn is off the mark this time. That's going to be a big deal. Qvofred is able to answer back, but Yammyn, without the ultimate, finds the kill onto the Hunter. Adapting follows up. That's 2 dead on the side of Team Dignitas. Trouble for Trixtank as his pluck is negated. And Dimi still playing frontline. iRaffer chasing out the jungler and the solo.
And luckily for Zyhrhoes, for once he is not dead. Normally, whenever he sees Dimi running straight at him, it means that he's probably going to die shortly after. Unfortunately, it was Arkkyl who caught the better or the worst end of those thorns, but NRG aren't done just yet. They're looking to re-engage onto Trix.
Yeah, with the Portal Demon, they were able to back and come right back into the fray. Now, emilitoo's down for 37 seconds. That might be a deterrent for most teams to shy away from the Fire Giant, but sorry, Emil. Fire Giant's gonna go down without you. 4 players will have it. Emil will not. But as I said, I really think that Adapting and Yammyn are the important points in this composition. It's their job to take down the mid laner. And with once this soul's dead, the fights become so much easier. We've seen it happen time and time again. Almost 50 minutes on the clock here, folks. 14-16. Definition of a nail-biter. These teams are entirely close right now. Goal doesn't matter. The wind is sort of in NRG's sails, but Team Dignitas has looked fantastic on the defensive side of the map.
I mean, we say that Zyhrhoes is the one who's been getting killed time and time again, but it's Arkkyl who's actually trailing at that 3 and 8. 8 times he has fallen victim to this Nemesis Osiris combination. Not to mention that Yammyn just seems to have a homing radar as far as launching those Vulcan ultimates towards Arkkyl's direction.
Variety's in trouble. Adapting drops the ultimate. Trixtank saves the life of his solo laner. There's going to be trouble as everybody turns on to Adapting, and he's gone! Arkkyl might have been getting killed before, but now he's the killer. Down goes the jungler on the side of NRG, and Dignitas, that's the win they wanted. They just want to stop. They understand that they're not going to win this team fight, just take the game. They need to stop, they need to regroup, and just look for that sort of equilibrium to reset the game.
And they're immediately backing because they wanted their carries to clear out the last remaining fire waves from that left and mid-hand side for the Phoenixes, just to ensure that they stay alive, ensure that that Titan's able to maintain its health. And now NRG, they still have the Fire Giant, but they just don't want to pressure, knowing that it's a 4v5 scenario.
This is a tough one. A little bit of background, folks. NRG Esports, the defending world champs, have not looked up to par. They just haven't looked like their former selves, I think, until this minute. I think this LAN has really awoken the beasts inside of NRG. And Team Dignitas, arguably the world's best team on paper. NRG are putting them to the test, and this has been as close as we've seen NRG to the top all year.
You can be the world's best team on paper, potentially, but they've proven themselves to actually be the world champions 2 years in a row. They definitely aren't by any means down and out, and I would have to certainly agree with you. This is by far probably the best performance we've seen from NRG in a long time.
And I love the way that they're doing it. 3-5-9 on the Nemesis. I've talked a lot about how important this Nemesis for this composition. Look how low Adapting is on the player damage, third from the bottom. It's about the ultimate shredding the protections. It's about a couple of the crits. This is what you're looking for out of Adapting. He's just providing just enough for his team to capitalize off of it. It's Yammyn, baby, and Dimi, baby. Dimi's making sure none of his front backlines getting touched, and Yammyn from a distance is putting him down.
But consider this, 2 members of NRG alone have dealt 83k player damage, and Dignitas are still trailing right there. Even without having dealt nearly as much player damage, they are still hanging toe-to-toe with this squad.
Yeah, I mean,
that is impressive.
I mean, you highlight Dimi's and Yammyn's damage. It's almost the same as Team Dignitas in general, right? Just trailing by maybe 20,000.
No, that is a significant
napkin,
amount. No, a significant. When 2 members are able to deal 40,000 player damage each, and on one team is not drastically far behind, that is just absolutely insane.
We're seeing a 4-1 split push here. emilitoo in the mid lane, the rest of the team on the left-hand side. Dimi in trouble, gets flipped up by the Sobek. Qvofred gets aggressive alongside iRaffer. Qvo starts it off, Dimi goes down. That's a big deal, leaving Yammyn exposed. Tosses out the ultimate by Panic. Qvo, double un for the jungler. 2 dead on the side of NRG. As soon as Dimi can go down, everybody else is vulnerable. Arkkyl takes out the Hunter. Complete turnaround. This is the play that Dignitas needs.
But look at Adapting. He sees that he still has the creep wave remaining. He's trying to find this Phoenix for his team, knowing that everybody from Team Dignitas is pushing down that mid lane Phoenix.
He's got a shield. He'll be able to poke it a little bit. This Phoenix is weakened. Crit's good. Bubble Dash is good as well. Arkkyl gets the shot. Down goes Adapting. 4 players dead on the side of NRG. And Dignitas marching up this mid lane. They're past the tower. They're going for it.
No, they don't care. They want the win. They want that win. They can take the right-hand Phoenix. They still have Zyhrhoes, and that's really all that they need. Arkkyl's finally trailing close behind. They might be looking to close this one out and draw first blood.
A full 20 seconds before Dimi shows up. Nobody here to play defense. 1 defensive shot is all Team Dignitas needed. Down goes the Titan. Game number 1 for the black and yellow.
That push by Adapting was the worst case scenario. Just when you thought that he was going to find that solo kill onto Arkkyl, the fact that he died and made it so that it was only iRaffer left to defend, Dignitas knew we are a late game squad. We have the soul. There is no way in hell we don't lock down this Titan.
You know, I'm thinking about this one. Even if Adapting is there to play defense alongside iRaffer,
they probably still have it.
I still think that's a win for Team Dignitas. When it comes down to it, listen, there's the old cliche that competition is X amount of mental fortitude. This is what they mean. Dignitas just kind of got stomped on for 30 minutes there, the end of an hour-long battle. one team fight, and they understood exactly what they needed to do. Take out Dimi, expose the rest of the squishies, and there you go. And that man right there is the reason why Robin jumps way to the back line, and it's all Qvofred.
That fight underneath the left-hand Phoenix was absolutely huge for Dignitas. The fact that Qvo was able to clean up Dimi getting so poked out, and then Qvo just completely annihilating Yammyn. Once Yammyn didn't have that protective line, all of that damage, it does not matter when you're trying to go against the Raven.
Yeah, that's the thing. As we said, Dimi and Yammyn were really doing a lot of the heavy lifting, adapting, setting his players up. Right there, adapting gets the kill, but Qvofred's able to answer back time and time again. And it all came down to the battle plan. Qvofred might have executed it. Whoever made the call, I don't know who it is, look for Dimi first, and the rest will fall in line. Qvofred leading the charge. Fantastic play from the Dignitas jungler.
And that's a feel-good moment for the squad of Dignitas. I mean, just the mental fortitude that you have to maintain in order to continue through those sort of matches where it looks completely abysmal. You know, you've lost 2 Phoenixes, you're up against the former 2-time world champion squad, and you just really can get lost in the moment, but that was not the case for Dig in the slightest.
Yeah, they kept their head on their shoulders, and you have to give them credit for that. Arkkyl and Trixtank discussing their strategy next time around. Arkkyl did get jumped on a couple times around, so we'll see how that one works out in game number 2. NRG have a couple of adaptations that they need to make as well, and maybe you can make some adaptations at home by way of your skins. It might not help you in game, but you'll certainly look cool. Gem sale going on, thanks to hi-rez Studios here. 33% off.
Look at that greedy little dwarf.
Yeah, it looks like aggro.
That's actually true. But either way, that is a pretty significant gem sale. You know, that's the classic moment that you guys have come to expect from hi-rez Taco here. But I think all around, it's actually a pretty solid deal if you're looking to pick up any new skins.
Pretty exciting.